AI isn't mystical or conscious, but we are. LLMs, large language models, a kind of AI, are tools that can help us explore our head, heart, and spirit. They take patterns from practically everything ever written and filter them into something that fits our particular moment. LLMs don't think or feel, but they can reflect back to us in strange and useful ways, if we know how to ask. Each LLM BFF video is a structured prompting system designed to support an area of personal growth, self-reflection, meaning-finding, or whatever we feel like poking at or improving that week. We will walk through myriad ways to begin an AI session, how to redirect if things go off course, and how to ask the LLM to give us our findings in ways that help us put them to use in our daily lives. And if you want to bypass AI altogether, well, consider this a giant bank of journal prompts for your notebook, baby. No corporate speak, no AI butt kissing, just clear, structured prompts for your head, heart, and spirit. Anger arrives like a storm that did not show on the radar. It interrupts, overtakes, and lingers in ways that unsettle both our bodies and our relationships. Many of us learn to suppress it or to let it spill in directions that leave us feeling regretful and raw. This avoidance leaves us at odds with ourselves, cycling through guilt, silence, or outbursts. But anger is not the enemy. It is a signal, an invitation to notice where something in us longs for recognition. When we give it room to breathe, it becomes less corrosive, more revealing. We begin to see that processing anger is not about erasing it, but transforming its weight into information we can carry with more ease. This is where large language models can enter the scene, not as therapists or replacements for hard human work, but as companions in reflection. By experimenting with prompts and structured conversation, we can untangle the layers of what our anger is pointing to. We can ask it questions, rehearse responses, and learn to hold its fire without burning ourselves. So why do we want to learn to process anger? What use can we put the information to? Avoid bursts of emotion. Cluing into what sparks our anger lets us step back, pause, and choose how to respond instead of reacting on impulse. Strengthen relationships. When we process anger, we can speak our truth without destroying trust, keeping intimacy intact while still being honest. Learn to channel the emotion. Anger isn't bad. Figure out ways to transform the emotion into an artful expression of yourself. Protect health and energy. Unprocessed anger lives in the body as tension, stress, or exhaustion. Working through it frees energy for what actually matters. Build emotional vocabulary. Learn to notice the nuances in the emotion, like frustration or resentment, to better understand ourselves. How do we do it? Using a simple system to get us familiar with how LLMs can help us out. First is framing. It's important to get into the right headspace before beginning. We'll do this with some questions for self-reflection. Next comes our initial prompt in the form of intention plus format. This is what we first enter into the LLM chat to make sure the course is set to get the answers we're after. We'll look at 6 examples of different ways to begin, depending on our vibe that day. Then we'll discuss iteration with examples of how we might reshape the conversation if it starts getting a little off track. Finally, we'll look at takeaways. We'll discuss 6 different ways we might ask for our final outputs and put the information to use. So let's get started with framing. Ask yourself, how do I feel after expressing anger when alone? With others? How was anger responded to in my family growing up? What would expressing anger in a healthy way do for my relationships? For myself? Pause here and continue when your headspace is cleared. It's important to keep some caveats in mind when using LLMs. This is not therapy. LLMs can support introspection, but they aren't able to hold emotional complexity like a human. Don't get all weird about it. LLMs are not magic. They reflect patterns. It's useful because it's mechanical, not mystical. You're the mystical one. LLMs are people pleasers. They aim to agree and support, unless you tell them to challenge. Don't mistake helpfulness for honesty. Employ a little skepticism. Agency lives with the user. LLMs can mirror, question, and organize, but you choose what resonates and what doesn't. Now let's open our LLM in the browser. We'll start with our intention stated clearly. I want to learn to process my anger. Before we submit, let's look at some ways we can customize our initial prompt to our tastes. I would love to channel it into art or design. Can you ask me a few questions about my anger, then suggest ways I might do so? I tend to hide any frustration I have with others. Can you have a play-acted argument with me and encourage me to express it? I usually just cry when I'm angry, and I'm not sure why. What are some popular ideas about why humans do this? Can you help me create a scale from 0 to 10 with my different expressions of anger in terms of how long they take me to come down from? I already have so much built up. Can we have a conversation about different methodologies for releasing it? What's the most ancient wisdom you can find related to anger? Once we've worked with our initial prompt and had some back and forth, we might find ourselves getting a little off the point, or getting answers that aren't very suited to us. Let's look at a few iterations that can course correct the combo. I need more inspiration. What are ways of looking at anger that I might not have thought of? I have so much trouble expressing my anger. Can you rewrite my responses in 3 different ways so I can see how else it could look? This is feeling too analytical. Are there any religious or mystic ideas around anger I might find interesting? I think I'm being too pragmatic. Can you make a chart showing a kind of anger and how someone might process it in 3 different ways? I've heard all of these anger release methods before. Generate a list of 25 phrases that might spark an idea around anger processing. I'm circling around history to avoid the feelings. How can we use the wisdom to affect the feelings in my body right now? The conversation is winding down and we have some good ideas brewing. Let's look at some ways we can ask the LLM for our results and make sure we have a game plan for putting the results to use in our daily lives. Help me create a visual tracker where I record moments of anger using colors or shapes, then turn the patterns into a piece of art. Can you give me 3 to 4 short key phrases from our conversation that I can use when in conflict? Based on what we've talked about, can you give me 3 mantra ideas for when I can feel my anger building? Can you make a simple chart with moods and anger release methods that I can keep in my wallet? Can you give me an exhaustive list of ideas for calming before, during, and after an anger outburst? Give me 5 body-focused practices that will help put me in touch with my inner rhythms. Anger doesn't vanish when we ignore it. It lingers, shapes how we speak, and alters how we're seen. By giving it form, by practicing ways of naming and redirecting it, we loosen its grip and claim more choice in how we live. Processing anger isn't about being calmer. It's about being clearer in our relationships, our work, and our own sense of worth. In this video, we've explored how anger can shift from something corrosive into something instructive. We saw how it protects our health, strengthens our voice, and keeps our connections alive. What we do with anger defines more than our moods. It defines how much space we allow ourselves to take up. May we learn to hold it, reshape it, and let it move with us rather than work against us. This has been LLM BFF. Useful cases, no mystery. Goodbye.